I promise you, God willing, I will be the last person on Earth playing Helldivers 2. That is how much I love the game and believe in the game. And in almost every single video I make, I address that I am biased towards Helldivers 2. Now, I try and set those biases aside so we can have an unbiased and fair discussion when it comes to negativity, when it comes to nerfs, when it comes to game design philosophy. But at the end of the day, I am still incredibly biased towards the game. So, let's talk about why. I'm not sponsored by the company. Arrowhead doesn't even know I exist. I don't have family who works at Arrowhead. I am in no way affiliated with them in any way, shape, or form. But if you'd like to change that, Arrowhead, please reach out. I would love to collab with you someday. The truth is, I'm not some super Helldivers fanboy. I didn't even know Helldivers 1 existed. And I didn't know about Helldivers 2 until about a week before release when it showed up on Steam. I don't even have the awesome pre-order armor or the Twitch drop armors. Kind of embarrassing for a content creator. You see, I played Helldivers 2 before it was Helldivers 2 or Helldivers 1. Way back on a little game called Warcraft 3. In Warcraft 3, there was a map editor, which allowed people to make all sorts of games, which is where we actually got Dota, League of Legends, tower defense games came from there, and a whole myriad of really strange anime games. Now, you could debate that a lot of these started in StarCraft, and I would say, good point, but nobody played StarCraft. We're talking about Warcraft 3. And in Warcraft 3, there was a game called Undead Assault 2. And like every 90s kid who grew up on Nintendo and PlayStation, I was certain that I would grow up to be a game maker. So as a kid, I spent a lot of time making games in my head. And the game that I always dreamed of making was a horde survival game where you played as some sort of futuristic space soldier. You had incredibly limited ammo, and you had to work together with your team to survive the odds against a huge amount of horrible beasts, aliens, sci-fi monsters of some sort. And that game actually was made in Warcraft 3 map editors as Undead Assault 2 and Undead Assault 1, but Undead Assault 2 also. It was darn near a perfect game. You had tons of meaningful classes with meaningful choices. You had brilliant world building and fantasy. These really tense moments, but these really clutch moments. And oh man, the classes felt so good. I actually always played as the noob class, the first class you ever got, the Navy Corpsman, because you were able to revive other people, and I played the game as a healer. But there were so many other classes. Like there was this ghost, his whole shtick was he was invisible, so the enemies couldn't see him. So he would run around and collect ammo because ammo was really sparse and find good weapons for people. You could even play as a helicopter, which could fly around and again pick up people, move things around, but was super vulnerable to flying enemies. You had the flamers that could cause huge damage to big enemies, but also burn your allies. You could rarely call down RPGs to take out the largest hordes of enemies. And as you were trying to survive, Mission Command would call you down and say, hey, we have this impossible task for you to try and complete while also trying to survive. This game was darn near perfect. The one downside to it was that it was built in the Warcraft 3 engine. So it looked like Warcraft 3, which, even by the standards of when the game came out, it wasn't cutting edge. So I dreamed of the day that they would move that game into a real game engine. And thus, enter Helldivers 2. If almost everything that I just described sounded familiar, that's because it's basically Helldivers 2 to a T. Except for without classes, which I'd be really happy if they added. I would love to get to play as a helicopter or a pelican or a tank, and offer a completely different role to my team. And I know the game has so much spaghetti code that programming that is probably actually impossible. But that game was my childhood come true. That is the game that I'd been working on in my mind as a kid who thought he'd grow up to be a programmer and make it. And when I saw it become reality as a kid and enjoyed it and played thousands of hours of Warcraft 3 custom maps on just that map alone, to now get to experience it as an adult was literally a dream come true. So I will stand by Helldivers until the very end because it is literally my childhood game come true. Now, a lot of people say and accuse me of being too nice and too unwilling to deal with the negativity in the game, the negativity from the devs who they say don't know what they're doing, and the negativity from the player base and the nerfs and all the other problems in the game. And I want to address that and say, I know there's problems with the game. I have never said that there's not problems with the game. I think that some of the problems are blown out of proportion, and I think sometimes the feedback from the community is more toxic than the devs are. But see, the thing at the end of the day is that this game feels like it was custom made for what I thought a perfect game would be. And even after I think I just crested 300 hours, maybe 350, which I know that's not a lot compared to a lot of other people. I know a lot of other content creators are sitting at 1,000 hours. I just can't do that. Not because I don't want to, but because I literally don't have the time to do that between my other jobs and life responsibilities. But every single time that I boot up the game, whether I'm playing a trivial match to do some footage shooting, whether I'm doing level 6 to do some samples and help out some lower levels, whether I'm soloing a level 10 Helldive to prove that it's possible, every single match takes me back to my childhood and how I thought I would grow up to make this game, this exact game that I'm playing. And honestly, I wish a lot more people would have that experience because I think very few people have ever designed a game in their head or described a perfect game and gotten to experience the perfect game that they always dreamed of. Some people got it with World of Warcraft. Some people got it with Halo. I got it with Helldivers 2. So even if I become the last player, which once again we're seeing the doom saying, people are pulling out the stats and talking about how much they lost over a week with the escalation of Freedom patch, or once again pulling out the 90 to 99% of the population has left, or that we're hitting record low numbers for the first time ever, I'll still be here. I'll still be here defending Super Earth. Because there's one last thing I haven't addressed, but I thought I'd share it now. I've been working as a content creator for almost 3 years, struggling to have more than 2 viewers on stream, struggling to get more than 1,000 views on a good day on a short, spending 10 or 20 hours making a video just for it to get 5 views. Like, I've been there. I've been in the struggle. I think most content creators or people who thought they would be streamers or thought they could do it have experienced that. I know a lot of people give up. I've thought about it many times too. Helldivers is the game that got me there. It got me all the views I needed. And well, obviously I can't quit my job and live off the YouTube money just yet. Helldivers really was that one that got me views. It got me into a community. It got me viewers. It got me into a bunch of Discord channels to meet a whole bunch of other creators and people who are passionate about Helldivers. So Helldivers 2 will always be special to me. So yes, I might unfairly defend it a lot. They could remove every stratagem and gun tomorrow and I would still be trying to Helldive and prove that it's possible. I would still be making illegal broadcasts where I make fan fiction about what's going on in the world. And I really hope the Helldivers devs, Arrowhead, know that they created something special. And the reason why there's a lot of negativity outside of all the reasons I listed in my previous videos is just truly passion. I think a lot of people see a special game here and they're having a lot of fun with it. And that passion is just burning white hot fury when they feel like, oh no, we could lose our game. We could lose our community. We could lose everything that we've built up. So when I make future videos and I declare that, hey, I'm biased, I'm trying to set those biases aside, now you know what those biases are and why I'm willing to be the last Helldiver defending Super Earth. As always, if you've watched this long, thank you so much for being a viewer. If you've got a game that was like this for you, that you created in your mind or thought you'd grow up to make and then someone made it, what was that game for you? And finally, as always, truly I mean it. Have a blessed day.